Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Oxnard Planning Commission for Thursday, February 15, 2024. The meeting will come to order at 6 p.m. The public may view the meeting from home on the city's website, Spectrum Channel 10, Frontier Channel 35, or on the city's YouTube website. To participate in the meeting, the public may provide comments to the Planning Commission via email at planning@oxnard.org no later than 3 p.m. on the day of the meeting or through the city's website at oxnard.org/city-meetings or call the Planning Division office. Additionally, those wishing to speak can dial the phone number listed at the bottom of the screen, follow the instructions to access the meeting, and press star 9 to raise your hand, indicating your intention to speak on the agenda item being discussed. Madam Secretary, can we please have the roll call?
Chair Arejo.
Present.
Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
Present.
Commissioner Nash.
Present.
Commissioner Zielsdorf.
Present.
Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Present.
Commissioner Connolly.
Present.
Commissioner Schulke.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And I think at this time, would it be in order, Mr. Pearson, to have our newest member introduce themselves or wait till Planning Commission business?
We could do that this time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pearson. Commissioner Schulke, just a little intro to yourselves before we go into business.
Sure, I appreciate the opportunity and thanks for the pronunciation of Schulke. I know that can take a little effort. My name is James Schulke. I'm grateful to Councilwoman Basua and the council for this opportunity. My colleagues and the staff have been kind with introductions. And I grew up here in Oxnard. My father served in the Navy. My mother was a piano teacher. And I've lived elsewhere over the years on the East Coast, serving in government and nonprofits. Currently, I work at Oxnard College. I'm especially grateful to this community's teachers and families and public servants who helped shape me, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to give back. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schulke. And with that, if you don't mind in leading our Planning Commission to the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Schulke. The next agenda item is C, public comments on items not on the agenda. At this time, a person may address the Planning Commission on matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission, including information, consent items, and any time not appearing on the agenda. The Planning Commission cannot take action on any item presented during public comments that is not on the agenda, and such item may only be referred to the Commission Secretary. Persons wishing to speak on public hearing items should do so at the time of the public hearing. Madam Secretary, are there any public comments for items not on the agenda?
No, there are none, Chair.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The next agenda item is consent agenda. With none listed, we will move on to E, nominations and elections for Planning Commission Chair and Vice Chair to serve for calendar year 2024. Before the Commission proceeds into the nomination and election of the Planning Commission Chair and Vice Chair to serve for calendar year 2024, the Chair will remind the Commission that a general order was approved at a previous meeting to process this agenda item only if all 7 members are present or until the first meeting to be held in March, whichever comes first. Since all Commissioners are present, we will move on to the agenda item. And now the Chair opens the nominations for Chair. Are there any nominations for Chair? Commission. Commissioner Nash.
Thank you. I don't believe in changing horses in midstream. Not that we're at midstream, but I'm honored to renominate our current chair, Ronald Orejo. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Are there any other nominations at this time? Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
I was just going to second that from Commissioner Nash.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Chair Dr. Stewart. Are there any further nominations for chair at this time? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the nominations for chair. Madam Secretary, can we please have the roll call?
Commissioner Nash.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly.
Aye.
Commissioner Zielsdorf.
Yes.
Commissioner Schuelke.
Aye.
The motion passes.
For the record, I say aye to myself, too.
excuse me, I'm sorry.
It's okay, Madam Secretary. Appreciate it, thank you. At this time, the chair opens the nominations for vice chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair? Commissioner Nash.
Again, it's my honor to nominate Commissioner Dr. Vincent Stewart for the position of Vice Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dr. Lopez. Are there any other further nominations for vice chair at this time? Seeing and hearing none, the nomination period is closed. Madam Secretary, can we please have the roll call?
Commissioner Nash.
Aye.
Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Aye.
Commissioner Connolly.
Yes.
Commissioner Zielsdorf.
Yes.
Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
Yes.
Chair Arejo.
Aye.
This motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Thank you to my fellow Planning Commission members on this opportunity to serve again. Thank you as chair for another year, and congratulations again to Vice Chair Dr. Stewart on his reelection. Appreciate it, and thank you. And I'll have more words during the Planning Commission business. We'll move on to the ex parte declarations for public hearing items. Please state any ex parte declarations, if any. I'll move across the dais. Commissioner Zielsdorf. Thank you. Commissioner Connolly.
None, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
None, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
None, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash.
None, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schuelke.
None, thank you.
And thank you, none for myself. We'll move on to section F, public hearing. G, public hearing. G1, Dish Wireless Mono Eucalyptus, planning and zoning permit number 23-530-03. Property located at 1301 West Channel Islands Boulevard. A request to construct a 70-foot tall wireless communication facility designed to resemble a eucalyptus with an associated ground equipment enclosure on a 1.57 acre lot in the C2 zone. The request includes the allowance for an increase in height from 35 to 70 feet. The project is exempt from environmental review pursuant to Section 15303, Class 3 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines filed by Agent Adrian CULICI Yukon Group on behalf of Dish Wireless, on behalf of the property owner, Port Place Shoppers. City staff, Daniel Hoke, Associate Planner. The staff want to provide a summary or additional analysis at this time.
I have nothing to add at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll have the applicant present at this time. Present, if any. Are they? Thank you. On Zoom. Thanks. Oh,
That's not what I want. Good evening, Chair Arejo and members of the Planning Commission. I apologize for not being able to be in the council chambers with you this evening, but do thank staff for accommodating this virtual web. I'm not sure if staff is going to provide a staff report, a PowerPoint at all.
At this time, staff already put out a PowerPoint or their presentation per Measure M before this Planning Commission meeting. You have, at your leisure, can use up to 15 minutes with or without a presentation to speak on any matters in regards to this agenda item at this time.
Okay, perfect. I would just like to say that I have read the staff report. I've read the conditions of approval. Dish Wireless is amenable to those conditions, and really I'm here to answer any questions or clarify any items that the Planning Commission may have about this project.
Thank you very much. And your name, I'm sorry, I apologize, I missed that.
I apologize. My name is actually Sonal Thakur. I'm with Yukon Group, representing Dish Wireless. Adrian Kalichi is my colleague, but he was the one who originally submitted the application. Since then, I have inherited this project.
Thank you very much, appreciate that. At this time, members may ask questions of the applicant and staff. Commission. Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
Yes, and I don't know, this may be for staff. Looking through this application, I see again a request to raise the height, this time from 35 feet to 70 feet. And so I think the last three, what I want to say, in the antennas of this type, we end up always raising it. And I asked the question before, and I guess I asked the question again, do we need to modify the city code so that it now reflects the higher height? So it makes it the process easier and smoother to go through?
So, Vice Chair, Dr. Stewart, I can respond to that one. So the height limits in the code are based on the zone. So I believe this is in the C2. So the C2 has a height limit that applies across the board to both these wireless facilities as well as new buildings. That section of the code does allow for increases in height subject to a special use permit. So basically, it still requires going through this process, and it basically gives the planning commission the authority to allow them to go higher as opposed to just allowing every building and project to go taller than that. Because if we change that height limit, it would not only apply to wireless facilities, it would potentially apply to all buildings within the C2 zone.
Okay, I guess I was gonna ask, but maybe we would bite off more than we can chew if we change the C2 zone to reflect the higher height, and I don't know what that impact would be. So, okay, I guess I understand. Let's see. Okay. And I really don't have a problem with this, I just had a curiosity question. In other words, we're gonna put shrubbery around the electrical box down at the bottom, and we talked about the hum. Will the shrubs try to also drown out that hum, or will that have any effect whatsoever, if we had even thicker vegetation around there or not?
I will answer that one. Based on sound studies that I've seen, just in my experience, vegetation doesn't tend to bring down the sound level. When I process the building permit, we will make sure that the sound level will meet the ordinance, therefore the hum off property won't be above levels that are acceptable.
All right, thank you. And then looking at the resolution here, and I see the location and it's 1301 Camino del Sol, and I was just wondering, is that the wrong address, or am I reading it wrong? So the first page of 1 of 13 of the resolution, kind of towards the back, or at least 2/3 of the way towards the back.
I think I've been notified that it's on the first page in the top, the preface. It's the 5th line down. It says 1301 Camino del Sol and resolution number 2024-XX, page 1 of 13. Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Dr. Lopez. I'll have staff respond. Thank you.
Yes, so Vice Chair, Dr. Stewart, that should actually reflect the address of 1301 West Channel Islands Boulevard.
Okay.
So we'll make that correction.
Okay, I just didn't know if I was reading it wrong, or, I kept reading it over and maybe it's saying something that I don't think it's saying. And then, because I really don't have a problem with the project, I just have more questions. Normally, when we see this, a lot of times, and I guess it was in there, but it wasn't clear to me, if we don't approve this, what is the loss as far as coverage goes? So you get to see what this project increases the coverage to, show for the whole area. And if you didn't have it there, what is the footprint of that coverage? And I don't know if you can go into that.
So I can let the applicant, if they want to respond to that. We also have, I believe, the propagation maps that we could bring up in the presentation.
So Dish Wireless, this is a greenfield development, meaning currently there are no sites deployed. Dish is working diligently to try to get sites up throughout this LA market area. if this site was not approved, then ultimately Dish would not be able to provide coverage and provide another network for customers and residents and businesses in this area to choose from in comparison to those that are already existing.
And can I ask another question? And again, it's more of not, against the project, but Dish Wireless, my understanding is the TVs and the internet service, as opposed to cellular that we've looked at in the past. Is that what this is about?
They are entering the wireless realm now as well to be a competitor.
For cell phones?
Correct.
Okay, so is this for cell phones, or is this for some other type of service for
This is
Dish?
for wireless. This is for wireless service. It would be comparable to some of the larger name carriers that you already see out there: T-Mobile, Verizon,
Okay,
AT&T.
okay, great. And that's the questions that I had.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dr. Stewart. Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Yes, thank you. A question for, I think maybe for staff also. On the presentation, slide number 9 made reference to the conditions of approval for this project. And so for clarification, is it one active antenna that would be going up and the others in the diagram on slide 9 where it notes other trees? Is that just landscaping that's going to support the project, or are those also fox trees to match the antenna?
Are you referring to the additional trees?
Yes, so first, there's only going to be one active antenna reception tree, correct?
Correct, only one tree that has antennas on it. The other trees are to just help the tree blend into the area.
And will those
As-
be live trees or fox trees?
Correct, live trees.
Live trees, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Lopez. Any others from the commission at this time? Seeing and hearing none. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment?
No, Chair, there are no public comments.
Thank you very much. Are there any closing remarks from staff?
I have nothing to add, thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is now closed. We'll move on to deliberation. Commission. Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
Oh,
No problem. Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
I'm very inclined to support, obviously, the project. I love the fact that it's looking to provide or increase service coverage for residents in South Oxnard. I also like the fact that this will introduce a new service provider to the area. I always think competition is good, hopefully to the benefit of customers, which is our residents, in bringing, perhaps prices down for them at a time when prices on everything else is going up. I know from previous applications that there are, I believe a limited number of trees that we can choose from. I believe for one on 5th Street and Rice, we chose a pine tree. I like that this one is looking, at something different, and just want us to be cognizant of never placing a palm tree where we can better place a eucalyptus or, the pine tree where something else would be better. So I do appreciate the detail to that. I appreciate Commissioner Dr. Stewart's questions in terms of the potential sound that it omits, because I, am very familiar with the housing immediately around, and so obviously would hate for this to cause any inconvenience or disruption of any sort. So I do appreciate that will be something that is also not past any level in excess, but very much inclined to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Lopez. Any others from the commission? Yeah, so from myself, I think one of the main things was that in favor, at least for me, is the coverage. I think it was sorely lacking in this area, and I think this will definitely help in regards to that and provide the correct solution. I was slightly semi-concerned because unlike our previous antenna placements, this is in an almost residential area. It's of course in a parking lot, but however, if you look at the analysis, even at the worst, the range is only half the amount that the FCC guidelines would deem it to be unsafe. So I think it will that there should be very little, if no qualms, in regards to the safety, and it's only all benefit for the residents of Oxnard. At this time, any others from the commission? Seeing and hearing none, I think a motion is in order. Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
I'm happy to move the recommended staff recommendation.
Thank you.
I'll second. Thank you.
Thank you. It has been moved by Commissioner Dr. Lopez and seconded by Commissioner Connolly to find the project exempt from environmental review pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act Guidelines, Section 15303, Class 3, new construction, and adopt Resolution 2024-XX approving planning and zoning permit number 23-530-03, special use permit wireless subject to certain findings and conditions. And if there's no objection, I'm going to add that slight correction in regards to the address to 1301 West Channel Islands. Is there any deliberation on the motion before us? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Secretary, can we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Dr. Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Connolly,
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Nash,
Aye.
Commissioner Zielsdorf,
Yes.
Commissioner Scholke,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dr. Stewart,
Yes.
Chair Arejo.
Aye.
This motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We'll move on to study session reports, and with none on the agenda, we will move forward with Planning Commission business. Commission, is there any business to report for the Planning Commission? You can do it on Planning Commission specific, and I give leeway on anything else that you think we should hear about. Commissioner Connolly, then Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Thank you. I have a couple things. One, we have a special guest in the audience, my good friend and community activist, Mr. Andrew Tilson. He is a young realtor, and we actually connected on social media. He does amazing social media videos on actually all of the things that we talk about when it comes to planning and zoning. So I just wanted to give him kudos for coming today and being young and hungry and all of the things that are important in the city of Oxnard. So thank you for joining us. And then second, I have a little bit of a story, Chair. Let me know if I go too long. But January or December, it's been a while since I've seen you guys. So December 20th, I was invited to a Christmas party in my neighborhood for two people in my company that own a house together. We had a beautiful celebration. The next morning, all of us woke up to the alerts for tsunamis and all of that crazy stuff on December 21st. And their house, as well as their neighbor's house, was flooded along with 12 other houses in the city of Oxnard. And FEMA was unable to provide funds for these people that became distressed. And it was devastating to walk through those houses. I walked through them myself. And some good news, though, now that we're in February, a lot of those people have rebuilt, and one of my good friends has applied for a grant from the California Association of Realtors, and she was granted that grant to help with the rehabilitation funds in her home that she's owned. So I just wanted to congratulate her with that, as well as personally recognize Councilmember Turan for being boots on the ground. All of these community members have his direct phone number. He's been there knocking on doors, checking on them, and I just wanted to personally congratulate Councilmember Turan. And anytime that there's a disaster, whether it's 1,000 homes or one home, it's still a disaster to us as humans. So even though it was a minimal disaster, when we look at other things that have happened in the world, it still devastated these people's lives, and we're working on it. And those kind of things, unfortunately, still happen here. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Connolly, and for sharing all of that. Appreciate it. Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Absolutely. Just a quick thank you to our chair and our vice chair for your service the past year and for being willing to serve in your leadership positions for all of us. I echo Commissioner Nash's terms that why rock what's working effectively, efficiently, and high performing. So thank you both for your service, and thank you again for your service the year ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Lopez. Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
Yes, I also want to thank the commission for their confidence. It could pick anybody, but I do appreciate that, and that must be doing a good job to carry on, as Commissioner Nash said. So appreciate that. Had another I guess, question, and that is that, I know that when I came back on, we no longer do the briefings, Measure M, I guess it is. And my question is, does that prevent us from doing it in the meeting? Or maybe it's not the pleasure of the commission if we could do it to do it. But, I'm big on information to the public. So in other words, we open up, we do we talk about all this going on, we get public comments, we have the applicant talk, but then my thoughts are is that sometimes I've had questions that I am able to ask, but they relate to the presentation. So, is it possible to have the presentation again? And I don't know if that's, a good thing or a bad thing.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dr. Stewart, for that question. I have my own personal opinions on that, but I'll leave it to the legal and professional, to Ms. Roselle and Mr. Pearson. Thank you.
So it's a policy decision. If the commission wishes to have the presentations under the appellate court's decision as it related to Measure M, they held that there is not a prohibition against staff providing a presentation, even though we believe that's not exactly what Measure M says. We believe that the court made the right decision because the original interpretation would be preventing presentations, which I think is very negative for the public knowing what's going on. So based upon the appellate court's creative interpretation, they indicated that, yes, presentations can occur, so it's up to the commission if they wish to have those presentations.
Thank you, Ms. Roselle. Vice Chair Dr. Stewart?
Yes, and I just had one other thing, and that is I just want to make everybody aware that Cal State Channel Islands is having something called Super Sunday, and what it is, it's an opportunity for people to come to the Oxnard Performing Arts Center on Sunday, February the 27th from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And so they're going to talk about opportunities for our local university in the neighborhood, as well as, just encourage people if they want to go to college. That's the bottom line. So I just put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dr. Stewart. Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Chair. So I know that we can't make a motion on what was just discussed about the staff presentations, but can we have that as an agenda item that we can vote on it? Because I am 100% in favor of always having the staff presentation presented to the public, and of course to the Planning Commission.
At this time, Commissioner Nash, I'm going to defer briefly to staff if there's any legal umbrella that we fall under, but I do have a parliamentary solution after they speak. Thank you.
So Commissioner Nash, we could bring that to an agenda if the commission wanted to discuss that. Otherwise, we could potentially start giving those presentations, but yeah, we can have that agendized for a later meeting. I believe we still have to do the pre-recorded presentations, so those would still be done and made available. So this would just be a presentation here in addition to that one.
Well, let's hear what our parliamentarian has to say. So.
Thank you. Commissioner Nash, as chair, I would recommend either at this meeting or a future meeting to move to make it a standing role to have the presentation be presented before each agenda item. Standing rules can be changed at any time in the future, and the standing rules are unofficial, but we follow them unless otherwise said by the majority of the commission. And I'll leave it at your leisure to do it now or at a future meeting.
Do we need to have a vote on that, or is that just something that you can unilaterally do as our board chair?
I have the option to do it unilaterally, but I'm going to request that and process, if I'm not mistaken, to process your request as a motion. So it has been moved by Commissioner Nash to have the staff present before each agenda item and make it into a standing role of this Planning Commission. Is there a second?
I'll be a second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Dr. Stewart. Is there any deliberation on the motion before us? Commissioner Conley.
I do support the motion, even though all of this information is always readily available to all of us online. I don't believe that it's that absorbed by the public. So I do support this motion in that, in you stating that. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Conley. And for myself, I do support it in principle and still plan to vote in favor of it. I think we got to look in the future if we want to possibly, but I don't intend to at this time because I want to see what it looks like in practice, maybe making a time limit, especially if the staff presentation already presented per Measure M. I think there were a couple that were 20 minutes. And so at this time, I don't recommend and I don't plan to make that amendment, but we do have that ability in the future. Is there any other deliberation on?
Yes, just want to
Vice Chair
make
Dr.
a
Stewart.
quick comment. I work on another committee and we are working on internet for, people in the county. And so in looking at that and being involved in that, even though Measure M has it out there, it's on internet, and there are a lot of families throughout this county, in Oxnard too, that don't have access to the internet other than going to the library or something like that. And so, again, as I said before, I'm just really big on ensuring that the public has access to the information. And so we make a decision and involve the public that, we are transparent. And that's my only comment.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dr. Stewart. Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
I was going to say, I really hope staff doesn't mind having to do these presentations, because I have to agree with my colleagues up here that in the spirit of increased public engagement and just simply, public outreach, it would go a long ways, and I would certainly appreciate it as well. So again, I just hope it's not too big of an ask for staff and the planners on the items, but grateful.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Lopez. Any others from the commission? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Secretary, can we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Nash,
Aye, 100%.
Vice Chair Dr. Stewart,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Connolly,
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Zielsdorf,
Yes.
Commissioner Scholke,
Aye.
Chair Arejo.
Aye.
This motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Commissioner Nash, are you finished with your, thank you very much. Any others from the commission at this time? Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Two things that I kind of had a moment of lapse there. But first, also a big hearty welcome to our newest commissioner. You will quickly find, if you haven't studied us for the past couple of years, that this is one impressive commission. I meant to say this at our last meeting, not sure if it was in December or January when we last met. I've said it before, but it has been some time since I've said it. It really is an absolute pleasure to serve with each one of you up here. I really appreciate the time that you all, dedicate, but more importantly, I think the questions that are posed, and I really do appreciate how we have traditionally always put a premium on public safety or elements of public health where it may be considered a factor as well. But, I just wanted to add those two things, a welcome and then just a thank you to all my fellow commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Lopez. Any others from the commission? At this time, I have a few items of note. So again, I just want to really appreciate my fellow Planning Commission members for your confidence in electing me as chair again. I really appreciate it. My first meeting was extremely dramatic in regards to at least the parliamentary procedure, and I was kicking myself in regards to that. And so hopefully I made less and less mistakes. And I look forward to any advice and recommendations from all of you also in the future. With that, mostly directed to our newest member, Commissioner Scholke, but for everyone else as a reminder, just in terms of parliamentary procedure, you are always welcome after a motion is made to second, before or after I state the motion. That's going to be flexible on what you feel your preference is or what you feel at the moment is called for. If you feel like you need more information in regards to anything being presented or asked, make a point or request for information, and I will answer it and or direct it to the appropriate person. If you think that the discussion has been has gone on long enough, our standard default under Robert's rules is twice speaking per item for 10 minutes each. After that, we have to have a motion to speak more either more times or more minutes, but if you feel that the deliberation has already ended, feel free to call the question. Members of this commission have seen that before. It requires a 2/3 vote, and then it goes into the vote on the motion that we were deliberating on. If you have any questions in regards to how to fashion a parliamentary procedure, request that of the chair with a parliamentary inquiry. Even though it may not be my preference, I am, at least in my opinion, duty-bound to give you the recommended and possible courses of action to make the process or action that you would like. If you feel that the chair or whoever is chairing, vice chair, is out of order in terms of a rule or in terms of procedure, point out a point of order, and if you disagree with the chair's ruling, appeal the decision of the chair. And we've seen all of these except decision of the chair. You've seen me make these of the chair of past Chair Franks and past Chair Frank and Chair Chavez, and so I don't mind it. I've seen it, and I've done all of them in the past in other bodies. So I appreciate it because we're trying to do our best for not only this commission, but also for this residents of Oxnard. At this time, I'm not going to make a formal motion, but it's more of a heads up to everyone that I intend, unless this commission decides they want to make a motion on any of the 3 actions that I'm going to propose at the next meeting. I propose that since it's been 3 years since we've had a bylaws committee with past Chair Chavez, Commissioner Connolly, and myself as vice chair, that we reopen the bylaws to amendments. I don't think we need a committee, but I think that at least one of us would like to make some minor, possibly major amendments to the bylaws, and I think that we should think about that in the near future. In regards to study sessions, since now that we don't have dozens of hearings in regards to the marijuana licenses, that we have a little bit more flexibility in terms of our schedule, they propose that we have at least 2 study sessions. What was proposed by past Chair Chavez, an update on past projects that have been approved, possibly on solar or anything on the environment, and anything about project labor agreements, which have been discussed in City Council and also by us a couple of times in the last 3 years. And also, I'm proposing that the Planning Commission consider a non-binding resolution, just as in every other city in this county, Santa Barbara, Kern, and LA counties, from my brief research, to provide City Council a option to recognize the hard work that this Planning Commission does with a stipend in the future. I believe that at least that we can make it known. We'll wait to hear staff's comments or recommendations in regards to the range of options available to us, but I believe that at least one past Planning Commission member had to resign, and at least one current Planning Commission member. We do a lot of work, as was stated by Commissioner Dr. Lopez, and I think that the City Council would like to recognize us for our work with a small stipend for whatever they see fit. And so at this time, that ends my comments. If there's any motion made on any of those actions, I will happily second it. But if not, I will make those motions at the next Planning Commission meeting. Is there any other further business from the Planning Commission at this time? Commissioner Nash.
Chair, are you looking for a motion tonight, or?
I am happy to second any motion by any of the commission members if they would like. I know that a lot that I said was possibly out of the blue, and so it's up to the commission whether they want to digest it until our next meeting, or if they feel comfortable enough, I'm happy to second it by any of my fellow Planning Commission members.
Just to, I'm happy to make a motion to approve everything you said, but I'd like to maybe perhaps get a feeling from my other commissioners about whether they would like to see it in writing.
Chair Whale, if I may step in, this would need to be agendized before the commission could vote on that. These are substantive matters, so they're not one of your standing rules. So if it's the desire to put it on a future agenda, then that would be appropriate to get a sense of the commission of that is something that you wish to consider at a future meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Rosell. Do you mean that on just the non-binding resolution or on all the three items, the bylaw amendment, study sessions, and non-binding resolution?
For, clearly for the non-binding resolutions, raise stipends. If you want to talk further at length regarding the project labor agreement or solar, those are items which would be appropriate to be agendized and discussed. That is the safe harbor approach under the Brown Act.
Thank you for your recommendations. Commissioner Nash.
Well, I did not officially make a motion, but if I did, I would withdraw my motion in anticipation of seeing this presented at our next meeting. And perhaps they should be presented individually so we can vote on them individually rather than as a blanket motion.
Thank you. I'm a little bit unclear if we should make a motion to agendize all of them or if saying that right now is a possibility. I know City Council, they just need one person, but if a motion needs to be made.
So Chair Rejo and Commissioners, so we can put these on the agenda where not for the full discussion, but for the commission to make a determination whether they want to bring each of these items back to the commission for a full discussion.
Thank you for that option / recommendation. Is there any objection from the Planning Commission by what Mr. Pearson recommended? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Pearson, yes, we'll go with that. I will, as chair, work with you in regards to the fine technicalities, if ever, before our next meeting. Thank you very much. Is there anything else from the commission at this time? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to community development staff. Mr. Pearson.
Community development has no additional updates at this time. Actually, sorry, I remembered one. I did want to note that the U-Haul project, which was previously presented to the commission, is tentatively scheduled to go back to City Council. It was pulled off the agenda almost a year ago at the City Council meeting, and so they've been working with staff. Essentially, the project is fundamentally the same, so it'll be going back to the City Council for final action, but wanted to let the commission know that that would be going, I believe, to their first meeting in March.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. Are there any questions for staff from the commission? Seeing and hearing none, I did forget, March 5, there's an election, ballots are already out. Look at it, make your voice heard. So if there's no further business, the meeting will be adjourned if there's no objection. Seeing and hearing no objection, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all and good night. Appreciate it. Thank you.